Today, we're diving into a really big shift in how we think about behavioral support. It's all about moving from a world of just managing crises to a much smarter, proactive approach, one that actually creates a calmer, better environment for everyone. So let me ask you this. Does your day ever feel like you're just running from one fire to the next? You're constantly reacting, the stress is always high, and you're left wondering, there has to be a better way, right? Well, if that sounds even a little bit familiar, you are absolutely in the right place. It's so easy to get caught in that reactive cycle. You can feel the stress building, you know a crisis is coming, and then boom, you have a stressful intervention that just leaves everyone feeling drained. But what if we just flipped the script? With a proactive approach, the whole game changes. The goal is to prevent the fire from ever starting, to actively support people, and to build an environment where everyone can actually thrive. Okay, so let's get into it. Section 1 is all about making that shift, getting from that mindset of pure reaction to one of smart prevention. So what exactly is proactive behavioral support? Well, think of it this way. It's about being a problem solver before the problem even shows up. Instead of just waiting for something to happen and then reacting, this whole approach is about setting up the conditions for success from the get-go. It makes those challenging behaviors a lot less necessary in the first place. And why bother? What's the payoff? Well, the benefits are just massive. We're not just talking about fewer incidents. We're talking about creating spaces that are genuinely safer and way less stressful for everybody involved. You build real, lasting trust. You dramatically cut down on the need for those last resort interventions. And maybe most importantly, you improve the quality of life for the individual while also tackling staff burnout. It is a total win-win. Okay, so that sounds great, but how do we actually do it? Well, it really boils down to 3 core concepts. We're going to call them the 3 proactive pillars, and this is the framework that holds this whole thing up. So here they are, our foundation: creating supportive environments, using proactive communication, and, this one's huge, building strong relationships. When you get these 3 working in sync, you create this incredible system of support. So let's break each one down. First up, pillar number 1, the environment itself. This is all about realizing just how much our surroundings can affect behavior. So we're talking about things like creating predictable routines, making simple but smart changes to the physical space, using things like visual aids, all to reduce that feeling of uncertainty. And a really key part of this is giving individuals a real sense of choice and control. The goal here is pretty simple, really. We're trying to engineer the environment for success. It could be something as small as lowering the noise level for someone who's sensitive to sound, or maybe using a picture schedule so the day feels predictable and safe. Even offering a small choice can give a person this powerful sense of control over their own life. All right, next up is pillar 2, proactive communication. So many potential conflicts can be stopped in their tracks right here, before they even start. It's about using clear, simple language. But it's also about what you don't say, giving people that quiet time to process information. And then you circle back, you confirm that you're all on the same page, and you do it all with a tone of genuine respect. And that brings us to our third, and honestly, maybe the most critical pillar of all: relationships. Because let's be real, without a foundation of trust, the other 2 strategies just won't land. And that trust, it isn't built in a day. It comes from being consistent, from taking the time to really learn what makes someone tick, what they like, what their triggers are, and just showing you genuinely care by respecting their space and their boundaries. Okay, so we've got our 3 pillars. Theory is one thing, but let's put it into practice. Let's see how all this stuff actually works together in a real-world situation. So here's our challenge, and it's a pretty common one. We have an individual who gets agitated every single day right before dinner time. Now, a reactive approach would just be to deal with the agitation when it happens. But a proactive approach asks, why? Why is this happening? So how do we fix this? Watch how these strategies stack on top of each other. First, you create structure with a predictable routine: snack, then medication, then dinner. You make that routine super clear with a visual schedule. Your communication is calm, it's clear, it reinforces that sequence. And because you built that trusting relationship, the person is much more open to your guidance. And then, the finishing touch? You offer a simple choice. Hey, window table or corner table? That restores a sense of control. And just like that, you've likely solved the problem before it even had a chance to start.
Now, putting this all into practice isn't always a perfectly smooth ride. So let's talk about a few common mistakes to look out for, just to make sure these strategies really stick.
Okay, mistake number one, and it is the absolute killer of any proactive plan. Inconsistency. If one person uses a visual schedule and the next person doesn't, it just creates chaos and confusion. Predictability is everything, and that means the whole team has to be on the same page. Next up, trying to do way too much, way too fast. I mean, imagine if you introduced a new schedule, a new communication style, and a bunch of new environmental changes all in one day. That would be incredibly overwhelming for anyone. It is so much better to introduce changes slowly, one at a time. And finally, this is a big one, giving up too soon. Look, building trust and learning new routines takes time. These strategies, they don't usually work overnight. Patience is absolutely everything here. You have to stick with the plan to see those amazing long-term results. So you've put the pillars in place. You've avoided the common mistakes. What does success actually look like? How do you know that what you're doing is really working? Well, success isn't just the absence of problems. It's really the presence of all these positive signs. You'll see fewer incidents, for sure, and when they do happen, they're much shorter. You'll see a person who is just more relaxed, more engaged. And here's a huge one. When they start coming to staff for support instead of acting out to get a need met, wow, that is a total game changer. You know, in the end, it all comes back to this one powerful idea. The goal here is to become proactive problem solvers, to create the conditions that help people succeed. It's not about having some magic bag of tricks. It's about a fundamental shift in how we approach our roles to become architects of well-being. So, I want to leave you with this one question. Thinking about everything we just covered, what is one small, proactive step you can take today? Seriously, maybe it's just making a simple visual aid. Maybe it's just offering a choice where you didn't before. Or maybe it's just taking 5 quiet minutes to connect with someone. This whole journey from reaction to prevention, it starts with one single step. What's yours going to be?